I'm Michael Amir, and this is Verified. Now, yesterday we did a story about another black man killed by police, Darren Williams, 34, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we're still waiting to see what comes from that. We're waiting for a video to be released to see what actually happened. Now, as we wait for that, we have another story about another officer. Now, we don't like doing these stories, but when we look, no one else is telling these stories, so we have to. So today I'm going to tell you about a wicked police officer by the name of Zach Wester, former sheriff from Jackson County, Florida. Now, this wicked dude was caught after investigation planting drugs in people's cars of over 100 people. So what this wicked cop would do is he'll pull people over. He targeted people who looked poor in a poor neighborhood by the looks of the vehicle. He'll pull them over for something small. He'll say your tail light or your brake light's not working. When he pulls them over, he'll be very nice. He'll say, you know what? I called in on you. I didn't know it wasn't you. Can I run your license and registration? But the K9 unit is on the way. And you can wait for them. It may take a while, or you can let me search your vehicle. And the people are like, oh, okay, search my vehicle. And when they search it, he would plant drugs on them. Now, after investigation, like I said, he did this to over 100 people. And he probably wouldn't have got caught if it wasn't for one, Christina Pumphrey, who at the time was the assistant state attorney at the 14th Judicial Circuit. Now, this was in May of 2018. She was given the assignment to review some cases. Now, she said not to exaggerate, but it seemed as if his name was over half of the arrest. And she started to find what she called disturbing similarities. One being, this guy conducted the searches illegally. The other one is the footage on the body cam conflicted with the written affidavits. And on top of that, the people who were arrested all claim they didn't do it. And that's kind of odd for all these cases for people to say, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know that's in there. So she took that, investigated, and it found out that he did do this stuff. Now, Wester was fired. And as you're going to hear from the state attorney, Glenn Hess, he confirms it and he says this. Let's play what state attorney Glenn Hess had to say.
The one that I saw was clear, and the one that I saw had some still photos, which confirmed what the video showed us. Until the investigation is completed, we do not know what charges to file, and we do not know how many charges to file.
Now, it's an open investigation, meaning this guy Wester is still walking around, planted drugs on over 100 people. A lot of them ended up going to jail, did time. Some of them had prior cases, so they got even harsher effects. And this guy is walking around because you got to figure out what charges to put on him. Could he at least sit in jail while you figure it out? Could he at least go in there and get jumped while he's in there? I'll feel a little better. This guy's just walking around. And these people's lives were changed by this. You seen the movie When They See Us on Netflix? If you haven't, you should. It's a demonstration of how the system's been doing us for decades. And this was 2018. Doesn't matter who it was, it's people, it's poor people. It's horrible. Now, I want you to hear from Christina herself. She now resigned. She said she couldn't work for a system that does this to people. What she says is very important. Listen to what she has to say.
He did it in a roundabout way, but he stole people's livelihood, he stole their freedom, he stole their credibility. But there's supposed to be checks and balances. In this case, okay, there's a dishonest officer, but there's still his supervisor at the Sheriff's Department, whatever quality control program they have in place at the Sheriff's Department. There's the State Attorney's Office who's supposed to be reviewing the evidence before we file these cases. We're supposed to be reviewing the cases to see if there's even enough evidence to support the case. There's the Public Defender's Office who is supposed to be representing the people they defend, and if something's wrong, filing the appropriate motion or having the case thrown out or filing complaints about personnel that they see. So it's not that there was a bad cop on the road and the bad cop on the road ruined all these people's lives. The bad cop on the road might have made them had a bad night. I mean, it might have lost them their job, it might have busted up their romantic relationship, but it didn't necessarily put them in prison. The combination of the bad cop and the state attorney's office and the public defender and the assumptions that some of these people are guilty because I have seen them often. It can't blame it on one thing.
Now, what she's describing is a broken system. Yes, there's bad police officers, crooked cops, but this is a crooked system that backs these crooked cops. One thing you have to know, as long as the system exists, you have to know your rights. I want everyone to read the Fourth Amendment in your Constitution. The people who got caught up in this horrible situation, they didn't know their rights. He was able to trick them, search their car, and then plant drugs on them. They can't just search your car. They have to have a warrant. They don't have a warrant, and they force them to let them. But they got to show in court they have probable cause. But know your rights. It'll protect you as long as we're in the way the system is, man. This is a really crooked system. That's why we have to report on this stuff, because our people are being affected by this. Now, as the national debate comes up, and I watch the Democratic debate and candidates discussing, this is what I'm looking to hear. What kind of system are you going to uproot? I'm not talking about police reform. I'm not talking about a bill. I'm not talking about police training. This is past all that. As she said, this is a system. It goes up a chain. All this has to be redone. Unless someone's talking about that, I'm not trying to hear it, to be honest. And speaking of elections, as we know, 2020 elections are coming up. Facebook is updating their civil rights audit about elections. Now, if you didn't know, 2018 was the first year Facebook began its annual civil rights audit, and this is an audit that publishes updates on how Facebook is handling its civil rights issues. Now, this past Sunday, the most latest one was posted. It's getting a lot of critiques, such as it's not going hard enough on white nationalism and other things. But what's pretty interesting is how Facebook announced that it will officially ban ads that discourage people from voting. Now, you know the Mueller report from Special Counsel Robert Mueller. He did report that Russia did interfere with the 2016 election. Because of that, Facebook is trying to crack down and make sure something like that doesn't happen again. But in this particular bill, they are actually stopping people from saying do not vote at all. That is being banned completely. Now, Public Policy Director Neil Potts of Facebook quoted as saying, "We focused on ads because there is a targeted component in them. We recognize it as a political tactic, which is much more in line with voter suppression." So if you're the average person posting I'm not voting, then you're okay. But if you're part of a group, organization who's saying do not vote, and you're trying to promote that, you're going to be banned. Now, the COO of Facebook, Sheryl Sandberg, is quoted in this latest publish. She says, "To protect elections, we have a team across product, engineering, data science, policy, legal, and operations dedicated full-time to these efforts. They're already working to ban ads that discourage people from voting, and we expect to finalize a new policy and its enforcement before the 2019 gubernatorial elections." Now, this don't vote policy doesn't take place until this fall. What are your thoughts? Leave a comment below. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and tune in every day. If you like our show, go to the app NFA Studios and download it now. Until next time, I'm Michael Amir, and this is Verified.